Hello my fellow Coldplayers. In this video we are going to go over a few things to expect in the upcoming weeks and months before the album is released October 15th, as well as go over a few comments that you guys have left on the recent videos. And speaking of the comments, I really do appreciate all the comments that you guys leave below. It's really heartwarming, insightful. You guys just offer a lot. So I do try to read through all of them, and I can't just tell you enough how much I really do appreciate that. I know that it's been a little bit difficult to get to all the comments recently, so that's why I wanted to have a video where I just respond to you guys just in a video format. Now, before we get started, I would encourage you to please subscribe to this channel. I know it doesn't take a lot of time at all to just hit that button, and it just really does help me out a ton as far as with this channel. So I would appreciate that a ton if you would subscribe. So without further ado, let's dive into some of the details about what to expect in the coming months. So first of all, I did get a lot of information from Coldplay Extra and from Coldplaying, both very helpful as far as being in the Coldplay community, especially on Twitter, just being really quick with the information. Now, one thing that Coldplay Extra pointed out was that the emoji at the end of the hashtags for Coldplay, Higher Power, and Chaotica have disappeared. So if you've previously used those hashtags, you've noticed that there's a Chaotic character at the very end of that hashtag. And since these have disappeared, it is speculated that they are kind of just making room for the next character, the next language, the next song, the next planet, all that. Now, if you're wondering about what song we're going to see next, I'm going to bring it back to a tweet we saw in response to someone back at the end of June, where Phil said, "No, but I think we should visit Coloratura and Epiphany next." Now, this tweet was in response to where we are going to visit next, with Coloratura being the first, and then Epiphany, the planet Epiphany, being the next one. So if we follow this line, there is the planet Epiphany, the language Spheric, and the song My Universe. Now, My Universe, of course, is the speculated and basically confirmed collab with BTS. So if Phil is saying that we're going to visit Coloratura and Epiphany next, this means that we're most likely going to get My Universe next. Now, just to feed into this idea a little further, the Twitter user BTS Translation 7 tweeted, "Jin says to expect good news. He says it's already been leaked, but there will be an announcement about a foreign artist collaboration." Now, I believe this tweet was a translation of a recent interview done with BTS, so this is clearly on their mind, something that they're thinking about, and obviously everyone in the comments is saying, okay, yeah, this is Coldplay. Now, just something to point out about this tweet is that Jin said that it's already been leaked. And that could be either the information about it or even the song being leaked, both of which are true for My Universe. But regardless about how much the song has already been leaked, there's no doubt that the Coldplay and BTS communities are ecstatic about this new release. Now, the big question, of course, is when is this song going to be released? And my speculation, which I've mentioned before, is that it's going to be released in mid-September. Because we have the album that's going to be released in October, and it would just make sense logistically to release a song about a month before that, just to maintain that hype and get people excited for the full album. And of course, I love to relate this album to Milo Soloto. So if we look at that timeline, the album was released in mid-October, and the single Paradise was released about a month before that in mid-September. Now, just to look at Coldplay's upcoming performances, since we know they like to release new music at these shows, of course we have the iHeart Music Festival on Saturday, September 18th. Now, I don't think it's likely that they will release the song on the 18th, but I think it's possible they will play it for the first time on the 18th and then actually release the song the day before on the 17th. So now the question is, if the song is a collab with BTS, wouldn't you think they want to perform it for the first time with the group? And however much I think it's possible this could happen, I think it's logistically improbable. But Coldplay has been using holograms at their performances of Higher Power. So is it possible that we see these holograms again, but as BTS? That would make for a really insane show, and I really hope that happens. But the last thing I wanted to mention about this subject is the fact that I think it's likely we get a new music video with this new release. If you remember, just a few weeks ago, we had those new alien languages leaked at that recording site. Well, in the graffiti seen on the building and on those pieces of paper, we saw the name BTS. So it's possible that this recording was for My Universe, and that we'll see this music video on the release of the song. So now I wanted to take some time to read through some of the comments that you guys have left on the videos in the last few weeks. Alright, so a lot of these are in reference to Coloratura, because that's what's happened in the last few weeks with Coldplay. And also, it's raining outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's why it's kind of dark in this room. Anyway, our first comment is from Gabriel Lucina, who says, Space Symphony. I noticed your Moving to Mars reference on the title, haha. Yes, this is a reference to Moving to Mars, but such a beautiful song, and a lot of people had related this album to possibly sounding like Moving to Mars. And so far it kind of does. It does have kind of a coloratura vibe to it. So thank you for that comment. Next up we have Desk Tapping Dude, who says coloratura is also a Fach in the soprano vocal range. Yes, that's very true. So a Fach in musical terms is a differentiation, a character or a title for each vocal range. And in this Fach, the soprano range that is super high, I believe it's the highest in the soprano range, is also known as a coloratura or a coloratura soprano. So it's the sopranos in opera that you hear sing these like light, airy, fast voicings. So yeah, that's a very musically intelligent answer, so I appreciated that one. Next up, Eric says, oh, forgive my English, I'm Brazilian, but Jesus, after the guitar solo in the pluribus part, ooh, the rain is coming down. In the pluribus part, he says, has a hidden G note that makes his part so special. So yeah, I was very curious about this because I didn't check it out, but I know that at that point it gets to a B minor chord, so if you added a G on that, it would almost sound like it's a G major 7 chord. So I'll have to look into this, but I really thought that was very interesting because there are so many different parts in the song that are just like hidden gems. So that'd be really cool to look into a little bit. Next, DPM says, in the chorus it goes from a G major to a G minor. Yeah, so I did make reference of this in the overview of the song. This is known as a minor 4 and is also one of my favorite things to do in pop music. Just adds this very bittersweet moment, and it definitely adds a bittersweet moment in this song. Next up we have Johnny Radio, who says, great video. When you play the verses on piano, I noticed a similarity to John Lennon's Isolation. Absolutely. So I listened to the song after you mentioned it in the comments, and oh my gosh, it does the exact same thing with the chromatic ascending line, like I mentioned in the coloratura analysis, where it starts on that 5th and then chromatically ascends. It literally is the same thing. Also, I'm pretty sure they're in the same key. I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure they're in the same key, so it sounds nearly identical. So great thing to note there. Next up we have Michael Schrag, who says, I just listened to the song in its entirety. It is such an auditory experience. Also, FYI, pluribus unum unus mundus means from many one world. From many one world. Interesting, I like it. It is interesting considering E pluribus unum is printed on the US currency, and it is the separationalist nature of the country these days. So I wonder why they said that. From many one world. Thank you for translating that for me, because that's one thing I didn't do yet. So thank you for your comment and for your insight in this song. Thank you. Next we have Niels D, who says, it seems that Coldplay has found a way back to their roots, to the Parachutes era where complex chord progressions were key to stand out. Yeah, so I remember before the song was even released, before Coloratura was released, I was like, this kind of sounds like Parachutes. And then when you listen to the whole song, it definitely has all these complex chords, which is very reminiscent of that era, and just an overall nod to the community. So very good point and analysis there. Thank you. Next up we have Ethan Ytgaming, who says, I played it for the first time on my channel. I did bad, LOL. I looked it up. It was not bad at all. You played the part of the song where it gets to the dancing stars, is what I like to refer to it at, which is one of my favorite parts of the song, and you did a very good little piano part of it. So I appreciated it, and keep on doing what you're doing. Thank you for your comment. Next we have Halfton, who says, love the video. What about diving into the Politics song, also from Coldplay? I'd really love to see it. You know what? I think that's a great idea. I think when things settle down from this album, I'd really love to go back to older songs, especially Politic, because it does have some really interesting things. So I love that idea, and I definitely will get on that shortly, so thank you. Then colorlessguard says, Coloratura is truly a love letter from the band to us fans. I could not agree any more with this fact. I think that this song was definitely, I've mentioned before, it's not like a radio song, but it's meant more for the sheer masterpiece that it is, to kind of inspire and to kind of say like, hey, we can create something as magnificent as this. I think it was meant for them as much as it was meant for us. I think they really wanted to create a song like that, and I think it was just implemented so well. Yeah, thank you for your comment. Then we have AW who says, great review. I listened to this at midnight in UK when it came out. Couldn't believe what I was hearing. The depth to what they make musically and what each of them bring to the song is encapsulated in this 10 minutes. Very impressive stuff. Totally agree. Then they say, Galileo made me smile and remember the bit in Head Full of Dreams movie. Chris wanted to sing about Leonardo, then Guy questioned whether he got it wrong and was actually talking about Galileo. The idea must have been around in Chris's head or in his phone all these years. I love this comment because I totally was thinking the same thing when I was listening to this song, and that just reminded me of it. And it's totally possible that this song, or at least an idea for this song, has been around for years and years. So I love this comment, thank you. Then we have this comment that says, thank you very much for your words about the visuals. Yes, I only briefly touched on this in my review of Coloratura, but the visuals are just stunning, and I just really appreciated how well it corresponded to the song and just helped take us on this journey as we were listening to this song. It's just very wonderful job, very beautiful, and I appreciate it. So thank you for pointing that out again. I can't express enough how much I appreciated the visuals in this masterpiece. Then we have Vishna Vinod who says, the song has legit Pink Floyd vibes, like the two songs Brain Damage and The Great Gig in the Sky. Yes. So this song, as many have pointed out, has a very big Pink Floyd feel to it. And I personally haven't listened to too much Pink Floyd, but I definitely have listened to my fair share of Pink Floyd and think that the song instantly, you know, when I first heard it, I think it definitely sounds like Pink Floyd, as well as the Beatles, which we mentioned before. So this blending of like this Pink Floyd, Beatles, Coldplay, old Coldplay feel just was perfect. So thank you for pointing that out. I just wanted to mention that because yeah, totally has that kind of feel. Then Brian Cello says, I believe this song is about afterlife in whatever form you believe it in personally. I say this because it talks about heaven specifically, and it also talks about a journey and how you're welcomed at the end of the journey by others who have already made it. For example, those talked about in the song. If this is volume 1, I believe volume 1 is about afterlife, volume 2 is about death, and volume 3 would be afterlife. Let me know what you think. I think it is a pretty good guess considering that they are splitting into 3 parts. Yeah, so I really like this idea. I think, so just going back at the beginning of the official Higher Power video, it said a melodic orbit in 3 parts. So that's why we think the album could be split into 3 parts, similar to how Everyday Life was in 2 parts. So that would be really cool to see if this album was about life, death, and afterlife. That's a really good idea and totally good guess. I definitely keep that in mind as we talk about this album in weeks to come, in months to come, when it's finally released. Great guess, I like that. Then CP Kathy says, I was really hoping you would love this. This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. Also, there were 5 little colored stars, likely for each band member, including Phil. Oh my gosh, that's really funny, and I hope that's why they did that. Come to think of it, that's probably why. I really like your thinking there. Then Mike Shaw, who comments almost every time, and I appreciate your comments so much, says, this song is really good, so good. I'm just mad that I can only listen to it 6 times in 1 hour, oh my gosh. Also, from the times on the album, it looks like there are 9 full-length tracks, each above 3 to 4 minutes, including this one, which leaves about 3 short tracks. Come to think of it now, we just talked about how the album being in 3 parts, maybe the short tracks are the transitions or the bookmarks to splitting this into 3 sections, because there's one at the beginning, which is Music of the Spheres, only 53 seconds long. There's one called Stars, which is only 54 seconds long. which, you know, it comes a few songs after it. And then a few songs after that is Circle, which is 21 seconds long. I know we kind of talked about this before, but looking at it as far as like how long the songs are, that totally would make sense. Thank you for your comment. And last but not least, we have Andrew Colo XX, who says, amazing videos, mate. I'm binge watching all your recent videos in these days. Thank you so much, Andrew, for binge watching the videos. It's very much appreciated. I know I love making these videos, and it's just nice to hear that you guys appreciate them and love to listen to them. Thank you. Now, if you're watching this video and you haven't liked and you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so now. Like I said, it helps out so much with my channel, and it is greatly appreciated. I put a lot of time into making these videos, especially when it comes to editing, all of that. So to encourage them to keep on coming, especially with these Coldplay videos, I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe and a comment below letting me know what your thoughts are. I love to do these comment videos where I kind of read through all the comments, and maybe I'll do one again soon if there are enough comments below. So be sure to do that. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.